Alrighty, this is what I get for starting myself early. Mic's off, just FYI. Hi! And the video is on. Dun, 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 dun. Chat, 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 chat. Okay. Hi. I am starting a bit early. Dun, 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 dun. If you can see the mess that I can see, it's a little chilly and my head is not warm yet. Okay. If I look choppy, just call them the tubes. The internet tubes are cold. Okie dokie. 3 people are watching so far. Sorry, morning traffic is distracting. Okay, if you're just tuning in and you're like, what the hell is this lady doing rambling? I am from the quiltingshed.com here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. Woo! Little quilt shop right up on the Hanwell. Nice, busy corner. And it is a minus. I'm looking at the screen trying to find the temperature outside because I'm used to my other devices, and my minus 20. Okay. The assistants are in the background telling me what's going on. Oh yeah, my phone says minus 23. My car said minus 20. Somewhere in there. Friggin' cold, that's what we call it. It's cold enough that your nose hairs like start freezing when you're outside trying to breathe. I live where the cold hurts my face, but at least we don't have these huge spiders or iguanas. One of my friends told me a lovely story about living in Florida with, iguanas and newts and salamanders and big squishy things that fall on you and come in the house. No, thank you. So what's new in the quilt shop this week, other than the cold? I will get to some of the new things. I know you want me to talk about fabric nerds, what's been happening in the shop. You can see right here. Woohoo! That is a creative, I think it's called Creative Glow from Moda. I do have a few bolts of this, and this was the quilt we did for the 3-yard quilt class last Thursday or the Thursday before. I can't even remember anymore. It was last Thursday. Yeah. I've got the top all together. I know. I'm doing my homework. Susan gave me a hard time. If you don't know Susan B., one of our quilt shop helpers, and she goes to as many classes as she can. Sometimes she helps me with the class. If she's already taken it, then she's my class helper, is what I tell her. Like, you've taken this class, you're going to be my class helper. The class is full. No, you're not paying for it, Susan. Got to argue with her. And there's Heidi. Good morning, Heidi. I'm whispering because Heidi's husband is sleeping. Don't know if the captions are working. Heidi's way out west. This is Creative Glow, this fabric, if you really, really like it. I am restocking this pattern, even though it's one of the 3-yard quilt patterns. I have many of their patterns, many of their books. They're very, very easy. And honestly, once you get going, they're very addictive. They really are, because, hello, Alice, hi. Because once you start going through them really, really quick, like the first night we had somebody who had all their rows together. Like, that's pretty quick. And we were out of here in 3 hours. So there. Oh, and Heidi's under a quilt. Of course you are. See, quilt fans everywhere. Even if they don't quilt, they show up. So that class was highly successful. Don't worry, I will run it again. My God, my mother is here. And Mom, I didn't blow my nose beforehand. Oops. Sorry, it's too cold for your noses to run out there. But I have worn. If you met my family, you'd understand. That's today's t-shirt, and frankly, it explains a lot. Because if you met them, you'd go, I get it. Makes sense now. So what else did we do? We had the first meeting of our monthly scrap club. None of us got to sewing. They put me to work cutting for them because we had lots of cutting to do. So I think for the next round, I will definitely get people to cut some shapes ahead of time. Oh, this is next month. So in February, what we are going to do is run through our scraps. You can use light and dark or a bunch of brights and some sort of background. I mean, this is what we're doing. It's called pie chart. And in this case, if you are interested in the February, so the scrap clubs meet the last Monday of the month, and there is a cost. I know, got to keep the heat on and the rent paid. Oh, they give you the dimensions all the way up to a twin 60 by 80. So this will eat quite a bit of scraps. Like it says 3¼ yards assorted scraps. One of these days, I'm going to give you tips how to figure out how much scrap you have. Actually, I can probably give you the tip right now. If you have one of the big cutting mats that's 3 feet by 2 feet, so 3 feet, that's a yard. So what I do is I lay all my scraps on top of the cutting mat in a double layer, so as if they were folded. So if I can fill up the top of my cutting mat with those scraps, even if I have to overlap them, even if there's a tiny gap, you just want to fill that cutting mat up with your scraps, double layered. Then you know you have about a yard of scraps. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. So do that 3 times. Pick out some background. It doesn't have to be new. It can be in your stash. It can be scrappy. If you're not sure, you can bring it. Because I did spend some time with one student. We had a great time though. She brought her scrap bin. It wasn't sorted. Not everybody obsessively sorts their scraps, and I will be doing a video on scrap management and scrap sorting. It's been requested quite a bit, and it will be very helpful for these. So me and her name starts with an S. Wasn't Susan. Could be Sharon. I don't know. Anyway. And she's in here all the time. Do you think I can remember her name? No, no. If you're a regular, you know you practically need a name tag for me to remember your name. My mom, she's got it tattooed on her forehead. I'm kidding. I'm looking at my cousin Bradley, but it's not his name on his forehead.
If you met our family, you didn't.
See, yeah, if you met our family, see, you'd understand. This makes total sense. There's like in jokes, and if I ever say anything strange that doesn't make sense, chances are it's some sort of obscure reference or joke. Feel free to ask me to explain myself. I'm used to it. So yeah, scrap club. I meant to have the sheet that we did literally like not yesterday, day before yesterday. So we did, and I took samples down. You don't have to go find it for me. Okay. Snowy sweeping. So this is February's. This will be at the end of the month, and this will take a bunch of 3-inch strips. So if you have scraps that are 3 inches and bigger, and you can get like 3 yards of them, there we go. You can come to the last Monday of the month after the shop is closed. We start at 6 and we go till probably 8. I mean, that's only a couple hours. I do get here around 5:30. But we can start sewing and sorting your scraps, and you can trade some scraps with people. They did give me a hard time because I went in the garbage and dug out some scraps that were too big that I felt were too big to throw away. I'm just saying, the thing now is after classes, people are just leaving me really tiny scraps for really tiny minis. So yeah, that's like $25. You don't have to go every month. It's not a subscription. It's on the site. You just look at Scrap Busters Club. It's right there. And that 3-yard quilt class will be coming. And this week, Saturday's class is Get to Know Your Sewing Machine. And it's at a very, very basic, half the class is full of kids, which is totally fine. But it's basically the level of, I'm too scared to touch my sewing machine. It's still in the box. What the heck is it? And what does it do? That's the level we're starting at. And after a couple of hours, hopefully we will have some students that are confident enough to at least turn it on and maybe possibly sew some fabric together again. We'll do it. We'll do it. It'll be fine. And the week after that, the first full week of February, I did not get it off the wall. But the mini quick curve ruler and the runner that is included in the mini, it's the little quick curve ruler with the little curvy thing. If you have one in your stash, bring it to class. If you don't have one, it is required for the class. But it's a nice, gentle introduction to curves. And you will be able to take that class on next Thursday night or next Saturday. I will try to get some social media posts up. So now for what else do we have? Yeah, it's the end of the month. It's January 31st. It's only January 31st. It feels like January 70th. We've gotten through the darkest of winter, almost. Really hate it. Really, really tough. I would rather hibernate and wake up in a few weeks. So January's promotion, I almost changed this table out. When you come in, there's a little table, nice little display. The Jaybird quilts, patterns and rulers were on promotion all of January. We did clear out some, lots of admirers of all that technique with the half hexagons. Jaybird, can't remember her name now. Anyway, I'm a fan. I used to read her blog all the Julie Herman, thank you. Julie, she's a fan of the half hexagons and the 60-degree triangles, and she's come up with a lot of clever things, including a whole alphabet, and some of her rulers with some really cute modern designs, including a Lone Star, which is very easy to put together. I do believe this year she is running another block of the month with the Gravity block of the month. If you've seen that, if you're interested, let me know. Nobody's mentioned it, but I'm just saying, if you do come across it, I do have access to stuff and know how to put her things together. If that was a thing you wanted to do, I could get the pattern in for you, etc., etc. So February, I'm picking another ruler and patterns, ta-da, to put on sale. And I just checked this morning. I put them on sale for like 30% off. So I have the twister rulers, and one of our helpers, Lynn, woohoo, whoops, it's too shiny, has made this lovely sample using the twister ruler. Look at, see how all those pinwheels? You don't have to cut out those piddly little shapes. This is made from the Modern Paper Charm Pack from Zen Chic. Even more paper. Okay, even more paper. I almost got it quilted yesterday. I didn't though. Nice grays and beiges. There's this sample was made with the grays and beiges, and I had some gray yardage that matched. It's a nice text print that was also in this charm pack. So Lynn did that up. She's familiar with that technique. So see how it makes that nice little pinwheel right there? So you sew a bunch of squares together like normal, and then you use this ruler to line it up and twist the ruler, and then cut your shapes out again so you still have squares, and then you sew them together and they wind up like this. You do wind up making a lot of scraps, but it just clears out some of your fabric like crazy. And they do come in different sizes. This was, they gave them all silly names that nobody can ever remember. This was not the smallest size. This was somewhere around the middle, and the little twister. Thank you. So those rulers and the few patterns I have will be 30% off. And I will move them to the front of the store. I will make sure that starts showing up tomorrow, because tomorrow is February, and this is your February promotion, the little twister rulers. Woo!
So the sizes are itty bitty, mini, tiny, and little.
Itty bitty, mini, tiny, and little. Those are the sizes, the twister rulers. I know. Wild. Pamela Kirby Davis. I keep meaning to email you about a foot. Thank you, Pamela. See, I'm running. Yeah. The list is long. The sleep is short. Some of the new things that have come in, new in the shop, but not really new because we've been out of stock so long. There's one place where I can order the chalk pouncers. These are the pouncer thingies with the pounce powder. I think they were out of just the powder. I know you get the thing, and then you've got to get more powder, and It's just chalk dust that fills in there. It's kind of messy. So I do have the blue chalk powder. It's wash out, swipe, and sew. So the blue stuff washes out. And wash out can often just mean, like I've said before, squirt it with some water and carry on. You don't necessarily have to wash. Although I think with the powder, when I've used it before, it's kind of messy. I find it messy, even though you were swiping and not pounce, 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 pounce. I know it says pounce and you want to do this, but then you got chalk dust everywhere and then your asthma kicks in. It's a whole thing. This one is, the white is iron off or wash off. I'm not sure of the price. I have to look it up again. And I also have the pink, which I haven't gotten out of the bag. So pink, blue, white, lots of powder. So they also have made, you can use those with regular quilting stencils, but they have also made these other stencils that I have tried. Oh, look, I found something. So this was the January scrap quilt. It's the Ohio Star Block, lots of lights and darks. Although a couple of our quilt people, one lady, she did very bright and bold African prints on a black background. Another person did all her nautical print scraps on a single color background. And somebody else is doing all her very dark blues and blue grays and anything that was remotely bluish gray on. We pulled out all her beige and white and grays and yellows. So that is going to look fantastic. So yeah, for our scrap busters, what I thought I would do is take the pattern that we used for that month. And if you were interested, but you didn't go to the meeting, you have to wait until that month is over. And then I will put this pattern up for download for cheap. Not allowed to give them away, but I am allowed to sell them for cheap. So you will have access to January's pattern. And then at the end of February, after we have our meeting, you'll have access to February's pattern. See, works out, easy peasy. Let me know if that works for you, if you think that's a good idea, if you think it's crappy, whatever. So yeah, the Pounce powder. So these, you can use them with your regular quilt stencils, or you can use them with these things. So these are a very fine screen, finer than cheesecloth. So the Pounce powder does actually go through these white areas when you just brush it over. So you put this section on your quilt top, brush it over with the Pounce powder, and then those lines show up and you just quilt on those lines and you wash it off and everybody goes, oh my God, how did you get those clamshells so perfect? And you go, practice. Or you say, honestly, the lady that works at the quilting shed said I should use these stencils and that Pounce powder, and then my quilting turned out marvelous and it was amazing. Like, look, it even has these clamshells. I actually have one of these in my own stash and have used this. Let me tell you, if you've done clamshells with a ruler, this is a little bit easier. It wiggles a bit, but I think I ordered this and then I looked and I already had some of these, but if you need to mark a grid for your quilting, even if you're going to quilt something else, this is amazing. It's a 1-inch grid. Yeah. If you hate pantographs like I hate pantographs, but you'd rather follow a stencil on a line, woohoo! Bears and moose and trees. Oh, no, just moose. Okay. Thought there was a bear hiding in the woods. Deer in the woods. Okay, not even moose. La, clearly the coffee has not kicked in yet, and I don't even drink coffee. I will have a price for you on those two. They're a little pricier than the regular stencils, but they are totally worth it. They are pretty hardy too. Like I have chucked these in a box and they've gotten all folded and they don't break like the plastic stencils. And this design, yeah. So I normally free motion designs like this, and you can see there's like a smaller one here. So this is the kind of design that you would use a lot in free motion. And let me tell, I've said this before. If you use a stencil for a design like this and you do it halfway across your quilt, you're going to be good enough by the end of your quilt that you won't need the stencil anymore. Trust me on this one. And this particular design, if you do this and then you move the stencil over and you do it again, it looks like a continuous design. And for the smaller one, you can see it hiding up here and that one up there. It's like maybe this big. You stick that in a border and it looks like this really nice rope border. It looks amazing. And it is incredibly difficult to do this consistently freehand. And it even gives you ideas on the back how to combine the designs in different arrangements. So yeah, I really actually like these kind of stencils. They were very helpful to me when I was first free motion quilting and trying to up my game. Yeah, so the grid one, just because you drew a whole grid in a quilting area doesn't mean you're necessarily going to use all the lines. You're going to use these corners for reference points, and you can even use them every 2 inches, not every inch. I definitely need to do a class. When I do some free motion work and this, I can show you some amazing things. Yeah, it's yeah, you can really level up your game with that. Let me just say. And speaking of stencils, more feathery wreaths. Again, if you have a large quilt block, like when you do an Irish chain, it has those big blocks in the middle of nothing. This is great for in the middle of that. And I'm going to say it one more time so you hear it. Do this on every quilt block. By the time you get to the end of your quilt, you won't hardly need the stencil, but it's still worth it. And another clamshell in a different stencil style, just because maybe you like this kind. Maybe you're hand quilting and you want to do this and you'd rather use this. Options. I'm all about options. And another one, loop the loop, a loop the loop stencil, which is fun to do. Oh yeah, impossible to see there. Yeah, you get the idea. Loop the loop. You can do this freehand, but again, you do this a few times with the stencil. Your body will start remembering and you'll be able to do it without the stencil. And it's fun. And when your quilt is done, nobody's going to hold the stencil up to your quilt and say, you missed a spot or you didn't follow the lines. They're going to say, oh, wow, what a great job. This looks fantastic. And for the hilarity, I said to myself, let's sort these stencils from my supplier by price and get the most expensive because those are the biggest. And sure enough, they were. Let's order some really big ass stencils. Totally a term. It says big ass stencils. Buy them here. It's bigger than my head. Whee! Look at that. So when I was learning how to do feathers, turning the corner and doing freehand feathers. Yes, Kathy's like, is there a feather stencil? Hey, Kathy, here's a feather stencil. Big. So here's like an end feather. And here's like the corner. And you can keep going. Look, it's even got registration marks. So you can line them up and do the same feather section and trace them on your border. Follow those lines. And it's even got the outside lines. Sometimes if you do your feather and it's a little messy, if you go a 1/4 inch away and reinforce that, it's fantastic. And then I have a sample here in the shop where you see I've done feathers and then I've done the 1/4 inch away. And then I've done some really dense designs next to it, like dense fillers. And this feather pops right out and it's still a single layer of batting. Now for show quilts, they'll often double up on batting and use something puffy so that when they do that same technique, the feather parts really puff out. But even on the very thin Hobbs 2020, it'll still pop out enough to make it pop. Pop. Is there a Baptist fan stencil? Yes, mother, there is a Baptist fan stencil and it's already in stock. It might not be showing on the site. I can't remember. We've been going through and trying to catch in the downtime just the odd products here and there that we're noticing without an image. So sometimes we're able to just take a quick image. You'll see some of the images is like, you just sat that on the counter and took a picture, honey. And I'm like, yes, I did. But now the picture's there. So I ordered a bunch of these magic pins. Oops. And the only size that came in were the little tiny applique ones. These are magic because the head of the pin is a little dip of silicone. So they're very flat. You can iron right over them. They're silicone. You can iron right over. They're not going to get hot. They're not going to melt. I have tried these. These are pretty cool. I've tried longer ones. Somebody had longer ones. But these are the applique ones, which are really, really short. My God, they're so short. 1 inches. And I did have the Gypsy quilter had the cool, she calls them the cool melt pins, and they have the purple silicone. So the Taylor Seville originals, the product that she saw that she liked and put in her own label. These ones, they have applique ones, regular pins, and quilting pins. So they have different kinds of pins, and they've color coded the top. So the applique are yellow, and they have like a blue one. They were out of stock, so I didn't get them. But the things I did get, also the soft and stable in the white, it's back in stock. I got really, really, really low. So white in 3 different sizes is back in stock. The soft and stable, if you're making some bags, very nice for your bags. So there's that. Speaking of long armors, hello Kathy, and stencils and things. So I did get some new pantographs. Kathy had a preview. I said they're on their way. They got here. So long arms. Pantos that I had in stock before, I restocked most of those, whatever the supplier had in stock. Because there was a few back orders. And I grabbed some new ones just for give you all options. See? Ta-da! So if you aren't a long armor, but you send your quilts out to be quilted, and you want one of these pantographs for one of your quilts, ask your long armor if they already have this design. And if they don't, they can come get it from me, or they might be amenable for you to come pick it up and give it to them. They'll pay, they'll reimburse, it'd be nice. They could just take this amount off your bill, and put it in their stash for everybody else. So yeah, that's a cute little circus animals. That's going to take some time to do. Kathy S just happens to be going to town today. Pumpkin Fest. Yeah, I got to wrap it up here too. So Pumpkin Fest. These are pumpkins. Pantos, they all run around 25. But hey, you didn't have to ship them. Maple Grove. That one looks pretty cool. Daisy Doodle. This is a 10-inch wide, but this is really wide. This is a wide pantograph, and they have the title and the width of the design. People who have like mid arms and long arms that aren't very long, they need to have enough space. So this is Angel Wings. It's a 8 1/4 wide. But look, isn't that pretty? All these little angels. This would make a lovely overall texture, and then you realize there's angels, so that would be sweet. And also puppy prints, puppy paws, also 8 1/2. So yeah, so there's those. I do have some new patterns and kits. I had showed this one off before. It was very similar to the quilt that I quilted for Janet that was on the long arm here for a long time. These are paper piece. These are very, very not beginner. We're going to say at least intermediate. And people had seen this, and the lady who bought the pattern, the one that I had, she's been showing it off to people and planning on making it. And people saw Janet's quilt too. So I have another one of these. I got in more from the same designer. So all the same similar New York beauty style blocks, lots of rainbows. And these are all paper pieced. If you want a challenge and you eventually want to make sort of like a showpiece kind of quilt that might go in a quilt show, local or otherwise. Karen K. Buckley scissors. These are back for perfect scissors, are back in stock. Little wall hanging kits. These are laser cut. They have the fabric in them. So cute. How much are they? We don't know yet. I know, right? And the last thing I wanted to mention, so we've been increasing our Colorworks. We don't have all the cotton solids of Colorworks. We will be increasing our Kona solids as well. Stay tuned for that one. But the kid had an idea, found this pattern that we had in stock. It's been kicking around for a while, and they've cut out the fabric and selected the fabric with the Colorworks solids, and the canvas. And canvas and colorworks are both from Northcott, and the colors are matching. So if we pick cardinal in the colorworks and cardinal in canvas, they go together. They match, they blend. They're nice and tonal. And for something like this nice retro tetro, it's like Tetris. We'll be working together on this sample. They've cut all the pieces. They've selected the colors. Um, we've chosen a different background. They'll complete the mini quilt top and then instruct me on how they want it quilted. And we'll hang it up on our famous mini wall because we need more mini quilts, right? Totally. Totally do. And the last thing before I go, I think this was after last week's video. I said we were getting some flannel on promo for $15 a meter. It came in. It is amazing. It's fantastic. This is one of them, one of the reds. Somebody said, I want to see all the reds. It's yarn dyed, and yarn dyed means it looks the same front and back, because instead of making the fabric and then printing it with colors like screen printing or digital printing where the dye goes on top, the dye or the paint goes on top of like a white fabric. These ones, they dye the threads or the yarns and then they make the fabric. So everywhere you see a row of red, those are red threads. And everywhere you've seen a row of black, those are black threads. And then where it frays, those threads are those colors. So the bonus for you is if you make a little snip and you like to tear your fabric and you make a little snip where it's right along a line of one of those plaids, where it tears, it will be even. It will not be wavy. It will not cut through half of that plaid line. Your plaids and checks that you're like, it's so hard to get them straight. These ones will be straight. If you cut straight on the line that you see, it will be on grain and straight. Yes, it will. It really, really will. If it doesn't lay straight, if you lay it out and it's like this, you can pull and manipulate and iron it so it is straight. And then when you cut it, tear it, if you really want to start off with a straight line, it's going to be straight. Now I'm resisting the urge to make all kinds of pajama pants. There's a pink plaid over there. I just might steal and make pajama pants. And then I'll have to get pajama pant patterns and hang my pajamas in the shop and not actually wear them. So it's cold. I want to wear my pajama pants. But yeah, it's super soft. I'm still feeling it up here. So that's 15 a meter. I do sort of have it on the site. You can pick from the image, and we will be going through, as I said before, and the larger quantities, we'll be putting them on the site. But some of it's going really fast, and I know some of it's selling quickly enough that we won't have time to even put it up. And some of them are smaller quantities. Like this one's only 4 meters on the bolt. So if you really like this, there's only 4 meters. There might be a little more than 4 meters. I'm actually looking at this and I'm like, yeah, that's more than 4 meters, even though the end says 4. Yeah, that's more than 4. Yeah, Carlene got some plaid. Isn't it nice? It's so nice. It's so nice. So that's that. So I gotta go. I have got an extremely busy and scheduled day today. And now I have to clean up this mess of all these things I've thrown around. We've got 2 shipments and notions that we still have to put in inventory, get out on the floor. Somebody's coming by before the shop opens, and I have a scheduled call with someone at 10 o'clock. And I have parcels to mail. So if you were waiting for me to mail you a parcel, we didn't get to them yesterday. I'm so sorry. They are definitely going out today, come hell or high water. And caffeine. New fabric will definitely be here for me to show you next week as well. If you are at retreat and watching the replay, have a great weekend. Please support the local quilt shops that are down there where you are having your retreat. Please support the pop-up vendors who go out to your retreat. It's a long trip for them. Pop in and see me on your way home. Doesn't matter. It's all good. It's cold anyway. Some of you are popping in to see me on your way down there. Super appreciated. And stay warm. If you are cold, I got flannel. Alrighty. I'll see you later. Stay strong. Stay strong and warm. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. I can't find buttons. That's the only problem. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm going. Okay, bye. If you're my family, I love you. If you're my friends, I mean, I love you too. Customers? Yeah.